Acting Manpower Minister Tan Chuan-Jin says that instead of aiming for past economic growth rates, the country has chosen to slow down to a pace that's more sustainable. Speaking in Parliament, he said the population white paper does not aim for growth at all cost. He also took issue with the Opposition Workers' Party proposal for a zero foreign manpower growth in this decade, saying when put in practice, it will hurt Singaporeans.
It was an impassioned speech by the acting Manpower Minister as he sought to explain the stark realities presented by the Population White Paper, which charts the country's future policies. He said Singapore is at a different stage both in its life and economic development.
Singaporeans have also indicated a desire to slow down, because they feel that pace of growth, because we have crossed a physical and social threshold. We cannot continue on as before. We can't. And we're also at a stage where, from a profile perspective, different stage of economic development, this is where we need to change in terms of the direction that we are going. So the white paper is very much a product of this desire to get it right and to chart the course for the next lap.
The key, Mr. Tan said, is in coming to a consensus about what level of growth is sustainable and will bring about quality of life for Singaporeans. And it's a judgment, he said, that 3 to 4% of growth for this decade is a realistic one to allow the country to transit as it restructures, while at the same time providing a buffer for slower growth beyond this decade to 2 to 3% a year. Labour force growth will also be halved from the current rate to about 1% from 2020. So, Mr. Tan said the Opposition Workers' Party's decision to freeze the foreign labour force growth rate immediately is an alarming one.
When companies go, it is not trivial. We can boldly be very heroic, tell the people, let's bite the bullet. Well, I think sometimes if you bite too hard, the bullet will kill you. And I think an environment which is a possible option of zero foreign manpower growth, I think that will kill off a lot of companies.
And even with more foreigners in the midst, Mr. Tan said Singaporeans will be taken care of. He listed, for example, the various continuing education programs available to give local workers a leg up. And if employers are found to be discriminatory towards Singaporean workers, he said they will be taken to task. But he also warned against being overly nationalistic in dealing with foreigners and immigrants. For example, the Workers' Party's notion of a Singaporean core being those who were born and grew up in Singapore.
I guess this is one way of looking at it. And I suppose it resonates with some Singaporeans. I honestly don't know how far back we should go before Singaporeans count. I think even here in this house, some of us are not born in Singapore. Ms. Irene Ng is not born in Singapore. Mr. Chen Shao Mao is not born in Singapore. Does it make them second-class citizens? We have many Singaporeans who are not born here. They may not have grown here, but they have decided to make this place home and serve and contribute to our society.
Parliament will wrap up the debate on the Population White Paper and Land Use Plan on Friday.